Hi, my name's Brianna Insior, and today I will be interviewing Derek Perry, who is the Deputy Township Manager for Meridian Township. We are going to be discussing an award he received in January that is the Best of the Best Top Assistant Manager Award. We also will be discussing his responsibilities and his role that he plays in the community, and also the different projects he's been working on over the last few years.
So I wear a couple hats for the township, actually. One is as the deputy township manager. In the township, you have an elected board with the supervisor, treasurer, clerk, and trustees, and then they hire a township manager to manage the day-to-day operations. And part of my job then is to assist the manager in those management duties of the different departments. And then I'm also a department director for the Public Works and Engineering Department. I actually oversee and manage the day-to-day operations of the Public Works Department. So that's water, sewer, the motor pool, cemetery, the grounds, things of that nature.
Got it. And so with that and you doing all this work and assisting the day-to-day operations, can you just speak on a little bit about, especially with last year and all of the changes that were going on in the world and the adaptations that had to be made in every sector of work? What kind of efforts did you put forward for the year of 2020 to make sure the township was still functioning to its best ability, serving the people, and kind of adapting to the changes that needed to be made?
Yeah, so absolutely. 2020 was a challenging year because of COVID. Local government, we have some responsibilities to our residents to provide some essential services. And those include police, fire, but also public works. I joke that that's kind of considered the silent service, but police and fire are critical. They're public safety. If you're sick in your home, the ambulance shows up and gets you to the hospital. Obviously, the police department protects, life and property. But public works is, water and sewer. And, if you don't have water and sewer for 24 hours or 48 hours, you can kind of begin to see how critical those infrastructure systems are. I tell people, water is one of the few things that the service is expected 24 hours a day, 365 days a week, right? You want to be able to walk to your kitchen, open that tap and have water there. And then when you flush the toilet, you want to make sure that goes away. So again, those employees that provide that service are very important critical infrastructure employees, and we needed to figure out a way to keep them safe during COVID, but also be able to provide those essential services to our residents. So we did some different things like staggered start times, end times, enhanced protocols. We limited our interactions in homes. If you had a leak or something, emergency basis, we would enter the home following protocols, mask wearing, little boots on the on your boot covers and things of that nature. But we really wanted to figure out a way to protect our employees, but also provide those services. And some of the other ways we did with customer interactions, I'm sure you've seen, is the exterior, what we call pods. They're kind of, it allowed us to still interact with the public, but not have them essentially need to come into the building, which just limited interactions and exposure potential.
Got it. And then you did recently receive an award in January, kind of honoring these efforts, I think, that you just talked about. Can you just tell me a little bit about that experience and receiving that?
Sure. So that was I think they call it the Outstanding Assistant Award. And what that is that was each year our Michigan Municipal Executives Association, which is kind of our professional society for professional managers, like city managers, township managers, village managers. They have several awards that are given out. And this was one for basically the deputy or the assistant position. And it was just really based upon customer service, which is extremely important to our organization. We think that's the starting block to all of our operations that we provide our residents each day. So it was kind of based upon some of that, some of the past history with that, and then also some projects over time. I was nominated by the township manager, Frank Walsh, and also city manager in Sturgis, Michigan, that I've worked with in my past. And it was just kind of based upon some experiences they had with me over time.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was kind of an encouraging moment that what your efforts you're putting in for the township and the care and the work that you have are kind of being recognized, which I'm sure is a good feeling.
Oh, absolutely. It's always nice to be recognized by your peers, right? We always want that additional encouragement, and it's always great to have that. And it's very well appreciated by those that nominated me. So,
Right. And another thing I wanted to ask about, I know you're directly involved with the local street improvement plan.
yep.
Could you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this will be the second year of the 10-year program. And the goal of the program is to get all of our local streets, which we have about 147 miles of those, to a pavement condition rating of 8, which is on the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being perfect, 1 being a completely filled road. 8 is essentially considered good. And roads in townships in Michigan are actually under the jurisdictional control and responsibility of the Ingham County or whatever county they're located within. Villages and cities are responsible for maintaining those, and they receive those Act 51 dollars directly. Townships do not. And when I say Act 51 dollars, that's the money you pay, the taxes you pay at the pump when you fill up gas. Well, townships don't receive any of that. And essentially we get provided funds via the county for the road work that they do in our township. Well, unfortunately, the way the formula works, our local roads were falling into disrepair faster and faster each year. And that's why we essentially put together a program that said, here's a way for us to start improving those neighborhood streets. But, obviously there's cost associated with that. So 2 years ago, we went around to the voters and provided the information, and they made the decision that, yep, this is something we want to do. We want to pay for it locally, and here's the funding to do it. So now we have about $3.5 million each year for the next 10 years to improve those local streets with the goal of getting them all to a condition rating of 8. So this is year 2 of the program, and we're excited about that. We learned a few things in the first year. We're going to be implementing those in year 2. And one of the most important things about the program is we're not only just focusing on the streets that are completely failed, but we're doing more and more preservation work, which is critical to maintaining the system in good repair. The old model was build it, and then after 25 years, let it fail, and then you have to reconstruct it, which is the most expensive way to do things. This way, if you preserve it, it's a lot less costlier, and it allows the road to last longer. So that moving kind of fundamentally in a different direction that way. We're excited to proceed.
Definitely. And has this gotten a lot of positive reaction and feedback? This plan, I'm sure it has, considering streets and roads and the preservation and quality of them are pretty important, especially to people that live in an
Yeah,
area with this kind of climate and things like that.
absolutely. I mean, people are ready to have the road, repaired. There's just a lot of miles of road that have falling into what we consider a PASER rating of 3s and 4s, which is, the poorest to fails to low fares. And it's just really a numbers game now. It is going to take us the full 10 years to get the system where it needs to be. But we just ask that people be patient, and it's such a huge investment, and it will pay dividends in the end. And as far as if your road's been selected, people are pretty excited when that happens until the construction starts. Then, of course, the actual inconvenience hits. But when the product's all done, most people are pretty pleased with it. And then, of course, there are folks that, want their road in year 2, right? And unfortunately, they may be more further down the line. So that always creates, some frustrations on residents' part, understandably. But again, we just try to refocus and say this is a 10-year program, and it's going to take us that long to get there. So looking forward to, years 5 and 6, really, to see how the program's really flourishing and developing and coming along.
Wonderful. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you. Did you have anything else to add?
Not really. Again, I just appreciate the opportunity to, talk with you this morning. And again, just want to send appreciation to Manager Walsh and Manager Hughes for the nomination. Really appreciate them doing that for me on my behalf. That was a very nice gesture. And again, I enjoy public service. So it's just a blessing to be honored to doing something that I love to do.
Thank you so much, Derek, for meeting with me today to talk about your award and the different roles that you play in the community of Meridian Township.